One of the most important people in racing, and we do not give him anywhere near enough credit, is the course manager, Dean Deidricks. And Dean is with me this morning to chat to us about the course and the season. Dean, we've got the Cape summer season. It's nearly coming to an end. We've still got Met Day to go. And I must say, you've kept Kenilworth in fabulous condition throughout the season.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. Yeah, look, I mean, we've obviously been faced with challenges this year, and it's no secret that the drought has affected the Western Cape to a large degree. And we're no exception. We've been very fortunate at Kenilworth in particular that our dams at least filled up to some degree this year, our catchment dam, which relies on our winter rainfall. And last year we made the decision to install 3 boreholes on site, which at this moment in time supply us roughly about 200,000 litres of water a day. That sort of makes up half of our daily consumption or requirement for the track. We've also obviously had to look at alternative ways of keeping the turf going, and we've certainly made use of surfactants or wetting agents this year, which have reduced our water usage on the track.
So far, touch wood, you've been able to keep the course in tip-top condition. We haven't had any complaints, and it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, no, we will obviously try and go the extra mile for our bigger days, certainly the Queen's Plate and the Met meetings. And we have a few tricks up our sleeve which we perform every year just to make those days, make the track look extra special for those days.
Now, it's not only Kenilworth that you have to maintain and keeping in tip-top condition for the season, but we've obviously got the changes at Durbanville. Have you completed there now? Because I must say it's a big change, it's a beautiful track, the hard work's paid off. It looks like a super track.
Yeah, look, Fia, and funny enough, I was looking at some of the pictures as far as the earthworks and things are concerned last week, and it's amazing to see that, in 11 months the track has gone from, lifting the topsoil, reworking the surface, and actually putting the grass back down to what it is now. Obviously, much the same way as issues we've faced with at Kenilworth, we also have water constraints there. We rely solely on 1 borehole, and we're hopeful that will last us the season. But the track is, the feedback from all stakeholders has been very positive. And yes, we can always improve. We're doing a few small things at this moment in time. We're just moving the irrigation sprayers around to make them more effective. And small things like that, we still will obviously be ongoing. But we know we're near finished with the process. There are always small things to attend to. And hopefully the track can go from strength to strength.
Well, so far so good. It looks amazing, and obviously the width of the track has made a big difference. Absolutely.
Obviously we accommodate gallops every fortnightly between Milnerton and Philippi, and obviously the track is used for club gallops, and I'm happy to say that we're happy with our end result.
And it's a crazy time of year here at Kenilworth. We've got all the marquees and everything going up for the Met, which is a huge job out there, and moving of the winners' enclosure. There's lots of things going on. How does that affect you in keeping your course up to speed?
Well, as long as the people stay off the course, we're happy. But, obviously there's infrastructure going up, and there's always consultation and discussions going around what needs to be done, what needs to be moved, and so forth. So we also, from a track perspective, involved with the process and the general layout of the sites and so forth. And yeah, it's just a case of working together. I think that, we have a good relationship with a team that's been involved, from the Met side. They've been involved for 2 years now, and I think we have a good working relationship, and fortunately most of the contractors have come from the J&B side, so there's a good understanding amongst all of us.
Now, you've had a fair bit of racing on the course over the last month. Are you due a break? Are we going back to Durbanville?
Yeah, we're very fortunate in the last few years that we've managed to do away with a midweek meeting before the Met, so it gives us some time to pay special attention to the track and attend to some minor issues that we know we have to deal with. That's helped a great deal, But yeah, I think generally it's going to be a great day for everybody.
And hopefully going forward somehow we'll be able to keep the water coming.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, you know, we have to start looking at alternatives, and we are investigating the possibility of recyclable effluent water, obviously looking at putting in more boreholes on the site, and going forward, I think the Western Cape is certainly going to be faced with more and more challenges.
But I must say, with all these water restrictions, it has been a difficult time for you, but there's been no complaints from trainers. Everyone is quite happy with the course, and the horses are pulling up sound.
Yes, I think we can say that you know, we've gone the extra mile certainly this year. I think the track is in great nick. Look, we can always improve, but you know, turf is not an exact science. You know, it's sometimes you just have to do what you have to do, in the sense that, you know, you do pick up issues with disease, and you know, irrigation sprayers and those things are working properly, and so, you know, you have to attend to matters as they come along.
Well, top marks to keeping it in perfect condition for our top racehorses throughout the season, and we look forward to seeing you on Met Day.
Thank you, Fee.
The Summit will host guests from all over the world, and Fiona Ramsden will chat to Wesgro's Tim Harris to discuss the effect Cape Town's biggest race day will have on the tourism industry.
We're here at the Wesgro offices in Cape Town this morning, where I will be chatting to CEO Tim Harris about the impact that the racing season in Cape Town, the Queen's Plate and the Sun Met has on the tourism industry. Firstly, Tim, just tell us a little bit more about Wesgro.
Wesgro is the economic promotion agency for Cape Town and the Western Cape. So we work on behalf of the two major regional governments, led by the Mayor of Cape Town and the Premier of the Western Cape, to promote the Cape economy.
And you were a DA MP before, I believe.
I was the Shadow Finance Minister for the DA.
Fantastic. So you were a perfect man for the job.
Well, yeah, it's a big change moving from opposition politics into government. We spend a lot more time here focusing on the positives and making sure that the government agenda is actually implemented. But being able to promote investments, exports, tourism in the Cape is a real privilege.
And of course, tourism at this time of year, in particular December, January, it's a marvellous time. We've got the weather. We get a lot of international visitors.
Yeah, absolutely. Tourism is a big driver of the Cape economy, but also particularly in the event space, we see the Western Cape and Cape Town being particularly innovative, positioning the city as the events capital of Africa.
Well, there's so much to offer, isn't there, in Table Mountain? We've got beautiful beaches, wine tasting, estate. It's just such a fantastic package.
And what's interesting is previously you were either known as a business city, so obviously Johannesburg and these big commercial capitals historically, or you were known as a tourism city, and Cape Town had that brand. But what's amazing is how the two brands are now blending in Cape Town. Essentially the things that drive tourism here in the Cape, the lifestyle appeal, the weather, the natural beauty, these are things that are increasingly important to entrepreneurs. They're increasingly important to talented and skilled individuals. So actually those tourism attributes are now driving real business in the Cape. So that's why I think we've emerged as the leading tech ecosystem in Africa, the leading space for renewable energy, for business process outsourcing. All of those industries have grown on the back of the things that make us a great tourism industry.
And now from the racehorse side of things, which we are involved in, we get a lot of international visitors at this time of year. We've got the sales happening in the convention centre where they're selling, yearlings. We've got the two big race meetings, the Queen's Plate and the Sun Met. Does that affect your side with tourism?
No, absolutely. As I mentioned, events are a big part of our tourism strategy. These two events in particular are as historic as they get here in the Cape. They both date from the 1800s. So there's a great memory from Cape Townians of the Met and the Queen's Plate over the years. And they're really embedded and woven into the history of Cape Town. But because they're such prominent events, I mean, the Queen's Plate was rated by the Telegraph a few years ago as one of the top 5 horse racing meets in the world. It really helps to put us on the global stage as not only an events capital, but also a sporting capital, and really fashion as well.
And the Sun Met, they're aiming to just get bigger and bigger and better. I mean, we've got a lot of feature races on the day. It's not just the Sun Met in celebration with GH Mum, but we've got the other sponsors on the day, big feature races, and we've got Usain Bolt coming, so it's a great attraction. Absolutely,
and they really are turning into festivals, as you say. The Queen's Plate is now run over several days. That just maximizes the spillover benefit for the region. making sure that the impact is felt not just in the horse race itself, but in the catering, in the accommodation, in the car rental, in all of the associated elements of the tourism industry. The numbers generated from the horse races themselves really have a big impact on the broader tourism economy in the Cape.
And obviously in terms of people working, and everyone's getting more of an opportunity with these big events.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw some numbers from about 4 years ago that show that the fashion industry itself generates about 18 million alone from the Sun-Met. We're talking about 70 million impact for the broader tourism economy. And the horse racing industry in the Cape sustains about 12,000 jobs. So it really is not only historically relevant and the iconic events for the Cape and for Africa, but really an important part of our economy.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for chatting to us this morning. I hope to see you at the Sun-Met, where you can hopefully meet Usain Bolt.
Yes.
Thank you very much for chatting to us.
Good luck for the event.
Thank you.